X-Men 97, episode 3 finally drops. And the question that we all need to ask, you feeling a little sinister? Alright guys, Brett here back with Garrett. We cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, X-Men 97. Gotta say, hell of an episode. But you already listened to me talk about the live review last night. Thanks for checking out the live stream. You want to listen to this man, Tony, talk about all things X-Men. So give us your thoughts.
So, as we know, the first two episodes were a great addition, and I feel this one was just as good, but not better. I still think the first two episodes were the best of the three, but this one isn't too far behind. But you can't expect every episode to be A+. So we pick up, and it's after Magneto was cleared of all his crimes, after Storm was gone and didn't have her powers anymore. And basically, what this episode is to me was a fill in the blank from the big cliffhanger from episode 2. Which Jean was it? Who is who? But real comic book fans know the storyline. We already knew that that was not Jean Grey. We knew it was Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, created by Sinister, however you wanted to call her. We knew that's who that was. In fact, some of us call this when we saw the still before this even came out, because I know the storyline. So, and also another reason we knew that wasn't the real Jean, because she didn't faint one time in the first two episodes. We knew that wasn't her. So that's an easy giveaway. So when she shows up and they're like, what's going on? Beast does what Beast does and is the forensic science guy. And he determines the Jean that showed up is the oldest. This one has only been alive for like 17 months. So this lets us know that Sinister grabbed Jean sometime after Professor X died, which kind of makes sense. You got to think about pregnancy in the timeline. So when we find out that she's the clone, and of course, Jean 2 is heartbroken because Scott doesn't know what to do. People who've read the comic, they know Scott has a special bond to Jean Grey. He can sense her. We don't know how. So when he sees this Jean come up, you can see his face like, oh, wait a minute. I messed up. I slept with the wrong Jean. And then that's when all hell breaks loose. Sinister contacts Jean 2. And next thing you know, hell on earth. We see the true power of the Goblin Queen. And I must say, this was done to almost perfection. Her transformation, the nightmares that she made everybody in the mansion have. Everybody had their own specific nightmare, going from Gambit seeing Rogue and Magneto actually melting into each other. That was freaky. You had Sunspot seeing his mom come through. You had everybody having their nightmares, and it was just done to perfection. And it showed you how truly powerful the Goblin Queen is. She's not an Omega level, but she is an Alpha, and people forget that. And so after all this goes on, Magneto, hey, let's go get her. She kidnaps Nathan, and Scott reluctantly gives up leadership, as we saw. One thing he hates doing, because he has to be the one, but he finally gave up leadership to Magneto and will follow Magneto into battle. They get there. She's sitting there waiting on him like a pimp in the chair, just like, hey, how y'all doing? What y'all want? And she proceeds to body everybody that showed up. Everybody that knows Magneto know he is a badass. Know he can throw hands with the best of them. And she bodied him in 2 minutes. This is her power level. And I'm glad they put it out there. But it's one person she couldn't mess with, and that was OG. When OG woke up, and hold on before we do that. Can we tell Wolverine to stop flirting with people's wives? Get his own wife, please.
Look, Wolverine's going to do what Wolverine's going to
do this.
Look, Wolverine loves Jean. We know that. He is all about Jean. So at that. So the moment that freaking they had where he was like, bringing her back. Like,
look into my mind.
look at me. And it's funny because through that whole process, look at me. Good. It's like, this is how you felt the entire time? Wait, my husband needs me.
I'm saying, back off.
Straight up.
you blocked by a memory. Get away from me. I was like, dude.
Straight up. And start taking care of that. So everybody's kind of, dealing with stuff. So she has to deal with those memories and trying to get everything to flood back. Morph has got to deal with that fear that's in his head because, again, Sinister is still in his head. Like, he can't get that out. So that's something that he's got to come to terms with. He tried to come to terms with, like, yo, I'm not gonna let it happen to anybody else again. I'm going in. Let's do it. And then what happens? He go in there, bam, gets held again.
Can we say they're doing Morph justice?
Yeah,
Can we say all these characters are getting their due diligence in this series, and it's great. You see the true power of Morph. Morph can be, again, the dangerous X-Man. He can be because he can do everything. He's not like Mystique. When Morph transforms into somebody, he gets their powers. So when he turned into Colossus, he got Colossus's durability.
He turned into Magic this go around. So seeing Magic out there, freaking, which is Colossus' sister, like, yo, she's in there going where he hit both forms. Like,
both forms, the demonic one too. I was like, okay, you dug into the well when you brought out that form. A lot of the newer people not gonna know that one.
So,
but again, they're in there fighting. Jean comes in and goes, Doctor, Sorcerer Supreme on her, take it to the astral realm, and then just go at it. I'm like, Jean, Omega level, thank you. No more fainting though. I don't want that from you. I need you to be on your feet and fight in this entire series.
She fainted the first episode she showed up.
The very first one, she's like, I need the X-Men. Like, come on, man. Come on. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I don't know what else to say about this. The episode was great. Again, I still think the first two were better, just because it was a great continuance. But this one, it's holding strong.
So that was the whole the this is where everything's going. You get some of the setup. Now we're getting more into the building, so at that, because now we've got Nathan who was here, so at that, and we got the technovirus introduced, so that. So we see that that's present and why it's present, and they're, again, certain things are going to be exactly like the comics, but they're going to change things up a little bit to kind of get things going. So, and again, we got Bishop, because Bishop got to show his true power. And I love they alluded to something. When he had Cyclops charge him up and stuff like that,
yep,
he can use his energy, and he can even use reserves to bolster his strength, to make himself stronger, to make himself invulnerable. He can do a lot more things than just take energy and blast it back out. So the fact is he showcased.
And I know people are going to ask, how did Bishop absorb Cyclops' eye blast? Since it is not energy, it's a concussive force. People need to understand, even though it's a concussive force, it puts off energy. That's what he's absorbing. So he's already durable. So when he's getting hit, he's absorbing the energy from the concussive force.
He's taking the concussive force, which is why he's bolstering up, so that he's taking the damage, so that and absorbing the energy that comes off of it, and then reprojecting it. Like, and
that's how he does
it. And now he gets to play the coolest step uncle ever, and has to step up and be daddy. Literally, this kid was born 24, 48 hours ago, and is now already time traveled, been abducted, got the technovirus. So Bishop doesn't have just like a small role to play here. He has the role to play.
And it was a great way to get Bishop off the show.
Yeah, freaking it set him up.
Set him up now, because normally what you want superheroes to do, you want them to start off with the strongest, get weak, become the underdog, and then come back to full strength. You've already lost Storm, who was by far your strongest. Now you just lost Bishop, who was probably one of your best fighters. So now we know close combat. Yeah, he's over. He's over all y'all. Cyclops is right there with him, but yeah,
they used to be war captains. What was it, the Krakoa era when they were war captains?
Yeah. Yep. And but then you still got other, Nightcrawler's going to make an appearance, so he's going to be in here, and then they're going to start getting stronger as Bishop, Cable, Storm all come back. And I'm predicting Cable's going to come back as an adult, and they go body somebody. Him and Bishop going to come in like Terminators and just save everybody.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say
So
the
we
interesting interaction at that end of the episode. That's something I really, really want to dive into. I don't know much about the character Aurora was talking to, but anything to
that's
get Storm
Forge.
back right in right
That's
now, I'm in for.
Forge.
Well, yeah.
Educate me.
For okay, Forge is. I'm trying to figure out because I can't like the term. He's a technopath. He's good with machines. He can create anything at any time. He's
Mhm.
not at Omega level because there's somebody better than him. There's somebody who has his powers, but Forge literally can create anything mechanical, anything. So when he comes in, and in the comics, him and Storm do get together. And hold on,
They break up too.
Fall of the Mutants. That's where Storm and Forge, he gets her powers back. They get trapped in another dimension. I'm trying to remember this. This is back in the 80s. They get trapped in another dimension. Forge makes something, and he gets her powers back. And so this is probably what they're doing.
Yeah, Fall of the Mutants. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Fall of the Mutants. And
Fantastic to
that's
see.
that's basically why this is basically they're even though in the comics Storm lost her powers by saving Rogue instead of Magneto, it was still Forge who got her powers back. So it now they're doing this storyline, and without her powers, the only way you can get her powers back is to go to get Forge.
And Forge came and found her. But again, I'm not going. There's more stuff. There's more layers to this. I'm not
You
going
can't say it because it's not out yet.
I'm not going
It's
to
not
spoil it
out.
yet. But there's more layers to this, and it gets
There,
deep.
it's
So
like 8 different layers of spoilers that we could talk about, and we can't because it'll kill the entire series.
it'll kill the
I
momentum.
know what's gonna, I think I know what's gonna happen, but
We'll talk
so
about.
far, yes, I'm still hyped for this. As you can tell, I feel like I'm back in my 20s again. I do. I love it. I'm
Which is a
sorry I took up the whole.
fantastic feeling for like any show. And
I'm sorry I
we
took
have
up
you
all the
here
show.
for this. Will, you got any quick thoughts there? Let us know, the people, how you feel about this. They heard me talk. They don't need to listen to me talk.
I mean, it's just good. Sinister came back in force, and I like that. Sinister is showing more
Great version.
durability.
It's a great version of Sinister.
He's showing more. I mean, he's had time to build up. Again, he's already encountered them before and taken damage. Remember that he was that green goo.
Yep.
He was bleeding. So that you see, he took it this time and regenerated, and so that faster. So he's learned from past mistakes. So he's going to be more formidable this go round. And
Yep.
What else does he have in store? Because even everything that happened with now we call it Madeline, and so that she's taking the name of the childhood friend that died. So that's how she gets named Madeline. All right. Now she's going to be off, kind of doing her own thing. But again, what level of control does Sinister still have on freaking on her? What happened to Morph? Because Morph is probably having some PTSD issues since he got taken over again through the Goblin Queen. So is Morph all right? What's going on there?
Well, Logan ain't gonna let nothing happen to Morph. That's his
Yeah,
boy.
that's what I'm saying. I'm sure Morph is fine. He's going to make sure Morph got out of there. But again, his mental, Wolverine can't help with that freaking right now. That's something Morph.
I mean, if we think about it, if you needed somebody to help you go through some PTSD,
yeah,
it's Logan.
Yeah, Logan's going to be there and stuff for him. But again, he's got somebody inside your brain, so that mess with you. Like again, that can have an effect on more.
Oh, it is
a number of different ways. So that's why I want to see what they're going to do with him. As far as Madeline Pryor just kind of walking off into the sunset, we're going to see.
That's not what happened in the comics, but I'm not going to say what actually happened because it might come back later.
Yeah. So again,
I'm looking for that episode, maybe 5 or 6.
She's walking off. We're going to have to see what her. So you see, we got members of the team that are leaving.
Yep.
So what's going to happen with the X-Men? So this makes room for new stuff because again, we started to see, Sunspot start to get his power. That's the thing, Sunspot. Like, it is what it is. His stuff is starting to come out. Like he's trying to suppress it. He's trying to keep it from happening.
He doesn't want to be a mutant, but
he doesn't want to be.
He's starting to realize that he has to do something now.
Because that was just, like, I love when Jubilee, like, yo, as soon as that thing came out and she split it open, you saw the blood fly. So I was like, oh yeah, we getting into it now. We get it because it had that whole horror feel. That entire scene had that whole horror feel, which is why
I know some of y'all didn't like, but I love it.
Yeah, I know you loved it. I was like, oh, Tony
I
is hyped
loved it
right now.
I was sitting here like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. They did a lot of setup. So now, right now, what are our questions? Where's Sinister at? What else is he up to?
Yep.
Bishop,
Madeline,
what's going to happen with Bishop, freaking and Nathan
Cable.
still there? Because we're gonna get some. I'm sure we're gonna get some alternate, version, animation going on. We're gonna kind of see what's going on there. So we'll see that. And that's honestly when he comes back. He's probably gonna come back with Cable. He'll probably
Yep.
have the dreads and stuff. Like I don't know. He may grow them out. We'll see. Um,
I just want something. He got to come back with something besides that little Bart Simpson. No,
Madeline Pryor, what's her walk off? What's going to happen with her? What's going on?
I know. I know.
Where, where's Charles Xavier? Where's going on with the she?
He don't have to come back this season.
He
I'm
don't have
good
to
with
come
him
back.
not coming back.
But again, it's questions that are floating in there. What is Cyclops and Jean about to do? Because they had a standoff. So how does Jean feel about everything that's going on? Freaking, how is she going to relate to Cyclops?
Having
Freaking,
an affair and a baby.
is this going to push her more towards Wolverine? If she's pushed more towards Wolverine, what's that going to do with Morph and his buddy? Because again, Morph made a reference, and it's just Morph by himself again. Because Wolverine went to go see about Jean, Gambit went to go see about Rogue. So there's these relationship issues are now.
And don't
You
forget
know,
Magneto and
Magneto
Gambit
and
and
Rogue
Rogue.
still got
You
their
got
thing going on, and they were assigned several hours together in the danger room.
And can we say Mork is just dick for doing that? He
Oh,
just
Morph is
kept doing it.
instigator.
I love it. I love
I'm an
it. I love
instigator.
it.
But tell me
I love
that's
it.
something that you wouldn't have done.
I
Yeah.
want him to do more. I mean, I think he could have got even more petty with it and
Oh.
turned into one of them while he was doing it. I mean, like I said, I'm a villain. I'm not a hero.
Yeah.
That being said, there's so much good stuff that's been coming out. We've already talked your ear off for the last 16 minutes. We got tons more amazing content for you guys, viewer. Be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button. Anyone have any final quick
Iron Man
hitting
sucks.
thoughts we have? That's a good one.
I can't
Will?
say.
Madeline, you can come search for me anytime and be my queen.
Ooh.
I'll see y'all in the next
Ooh.
episode.